It's time for your NFL Week 15 review show, where I react, I recap, I review this week in the NFL, giving you my thoughts and honest opinions about the biggest headlines in the NFL this week. Let me know in the comment section below your biggest headline, your biggest takeaway, your biggest hot take for week number 15. This week was phenomenal. We had epic on Thursday Night Football. Brandon Staley, whoop! See you later, pal! Woohoo! See ya! At least I don't have to make a rant again about this guy, Brandon Staley, brother. At least I don't have to. Come on here. Week after week after week after week after week. It's comical. And with a new thing to talk about when it comes to Brandon Staley. And yes, you see me wiping the sweat off of my forehead because, man, I'm pumped. I just watched the man, the myth, the legend put on for his city, Drew Lock. Bang, bang, put him in the holster. He just shot that bird right down. That Philadelphia Eagle. Fly, Eagles, fly. Seattle reigns supreme as the greatest, the biggest bird in the NFC. And Drew Lock, my favorite backup, that dude put on for Seattle. Just like Young Jeezy and Kanye West, he put on. And Drew Lock, we got to talk about that, man. I'm pumped. But this week was spectacular. It was spectacular. We had an incredible game on Saturday. The Bengals, the Vikings. We had the Detroit Lions out of nowhere like an RKO. What was that? They dominated Denver. We saw Sunday Night Football. Lamar looking like an MVP. Lawrence looking like the fraud I told you he is. And then on Sunday, we saw the best quarterback in the NFL not even have to throw for 100 yards, and his team walloped, obliterated, suplexed, finished the team that they call America's team. The team that they call Dem Boys. The team that they said it was their year. The Mafia put the Cowboys straight through a table. It's week 15, man. We're on to another week. Again, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your reactions. Let me know your opinion on everything I'm going to discuss. I just went through a crazy breakdown of what happened this week, and I must have missed 3 or 4 more things that I'm going to talk about in this video. So Gronk spiked the like button. If you're not already subscribed to The Bottom Line View, I don't know what you're doing. You're certainly not a Drew Lock fan. So let's go. Monday Night Football. The Seattle Seahawks at home take it over the Philadelphia Eagles in an upset. 20-17. And this game has huge implications for the NFC and the NFC playoffs. The Seattle Seahawks open that door right up for their NFC playoff chances. I didn't think they would beat the Eagles. They beat the Eagles. This opens up 7 seed, 6 seed conversation for Seattle, where maybe they go to Detroit now. Maybe they go to Philadelphia or Dallas in the first round. That could very well happen. It's not going to be San Francisco, because San Francisco definitely benefited from Philadelphia losing. So did Dallas. Philadelphia looking a little wobbly, looking a little drunk. I don't know how much longer they're going to hold on to that NFC East. They better hope. They better pray. First of all, that Nick Sirianni changes his facial expressions Bro, what are you doing? This man is making fun of Peter Carroll, a Hall of Fame coach. What have you done other than put an Italian flag on the side of your visor? Get out of here, clown. And second of all, they better hope that Dallas loses to Miami. They better hope. Because if not, they might be in trouble. In this game, 20-17, Jalen Hurts, pedestrian, passing the ball. 17 for 31, 143 yards, not one, but 2 picks by the same individual. Julian, not Jordan. Not Jordan. Julian Love, the former New York Giant, got revenge on the Philadelphia Eagles. And then Jalen Hurts actually led the way on the ground, which is a big problem if you're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. They need more out of their running back position. DeAndre Swift was hit and miss all night. He had some nice runs. At other times, they couldn't get a consistent run game going. The offensive line simply is not the same. Lane Johnson went down during the game. He went back in. Constantly false starting. But what else is new? Jalen Hurts had 2 touchdowns rushing, 82 yards rushing, and the wide receiver duo once again was very quiet. A.J. Brown didn't even hit 60 yards. Devontae Smith was barely visible. Seattle, Kenneth Walker was a superstar in this game. K9 was barking all night. 19 rushes for 86 yards, 100 total yards, 1 touchdown on the day. DK Metcalf, clutch catch after clutch catch after clutch catch after clutch catch. JSN with the game-winning reception. And my guy, my boy, the dancing Drew Lock, my favorite and most likable backup quarterback in the game. I've said it once, I'll say it again. What a post-game interview after this one. Drew Lock. That was awesome, man. Truly. This isn't even a meme. This isn't even a joke. That was phenomenal. I don't know what else to say. That was phenomenal. I mean, when I was watching that post-game interview, you guys think I'm going to be lying right now. I am not lying. I started to tear up. That shit was phenomenal. Drew Lock, everybody says he sucks. They all make fun of him. He goes out there. He beats the NFC champs at home. Redemption. They need him. They need him to step up. His team's on the ropes. They need him to come through in the clutch. And he does. The guy is entertaining. The guy is likable. And to see that moment come through, and for him to immediately give the respect and the admiration towards his teammates, and then to go on and talk about, and nearly crying himself, how much that meant to him. I'm not even a Seahawks fan. I'm sitting over here crying, bro. I'm tearing up for Drew Lock because he put on Monday Night Football. 22 for 33, 208 yards and a tutty. He protected the ball. Jalen Hurts did not. He made the clutch throws. Jalen Hurts did not. And, you know, Jalen Hurts did some damage on the ground. But that was such a great finish. That was such a great finish. Seattle was elated, excited, pumped. They know they have a chance for the playoffs now. They've got a relatively, I wouldn't call it easy, but a favorable schedule down the stretch here. They play teams at home that are about their level. They should be able to beat. And I question what's going to go on with Geno Smith and Drew Lock. I understand that Lock didn't exactly throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns here. But if Geno continues to not be available, I certainly think this team has that much more faith in Drew Lock, and maybe they ride Drew Lock. I mean, really, I thought he played well against the Niners. I even brought that up in my post-game report to you guys on the review, I believe last week or the week before, I can't remember. And I said I actually thought Drew Lock played well in that game, and he's looking the best he's ever looked in his career from a maturity standpoint. He was actually really accurate in this game. He was willing to throw the ball into tight windows, and he was a little risky with it, but he was willing to make plays. He was giving his receivers chances to make plays. I thought Seattle's play calling at certain times was really, really favorable and really good. Mixing in screen, mixing in run game, mixing in play action. I thought they did a lot of things really well here. And overall, a lot of people are like, I saw on Twitter, like blaming Matt Patricia and stuff. Bro, they only gave up 20 points at the end of the day, and their offense didn't come through with enough points to win this game. So, like, you might want to blame Matt Patricia, but this is like one of the better defensive games they've had in a while. And I understand it was against Drew Lock and not like the Niners or the Cowboys. But I think the Eagles' defensive issues are more than just play calling or scheme. Like, I think some of it's scheme. I don't know how you could blame a defensive play caller 1 week into their tenure and say that it's his fault when maybe it's just the personnel, right? Like, the secondary is not good. The safeties are slow, not great athletes. The corners just can't play man coverage, period. Darius Slay was out of this game. James Bradbury is absolutely washed. He looked every bit of the Carolina Panther he used to be, getting torched time after time after time. Whenever he goes into man, he just gets burnt like toast. And Drew Lock was taking advantage. I mean, this was an exciting game. It went back and forth. It felt like the Eagles had it handled. And then towards the end, they just couldn't put the game away with their running game. Credit the Seahawks defense for coming through with some key stops in the end. Pete Carroll sticking with it, kicking field goals instead of going for it. Pete Carroll did make some crazy decisions with timeouts and things of that nature. That was pretty bad, not gonna lie, but overall, I mean, this was a well-coached game. The energy was there, the passion was there. They supported their quarterback. I thought Leonard Williams had a phenomenal game. I thought Michael Jackson stepping up for injured guys had a phenomenal game. Obviously, Julian Love. I felt like the front overall for Seattle was pretty solid, and the offensive line held up really well for Seattle for a majority of the night. Locke was well protected, and it allowed him to make accurate passes, step up and move, and make some plays in the pocket. And, DK I thought was great. Kenneth Walker was great. This was a great game, man. This was a great Monday Night Football game. Can't say anything more. Post-game interview was phenomenal. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. Literally put tears to my eyes. Like, seriously, like, I don't know if it's because, like, I've been rooting on Drew Lock. Like, people think this is a joke. No, I actually root on Drew Lock. He's just great, man. I just love this guy. There's something about him. He's just great. He's great. I love the guy. He's just so likable. He seems like a good guy. And people have always made fun of him. So it's nice to see that happen for somebody. And the Eagles, I mean, they get what they deserve. I don't know what to tell you. Nick Sirianni, he's a fucking clown. I told you guys already he's a clown. Get the Italian flag off your damn visor. I don't want to see it, okay? They had the fat tub of goo up in the damn press box. Why is he even there? They've got Jalen Hurts, like, dude, looking overrated as hell. I brought this up to Becca. I was having a conversation with her on Discord about, like, quarterbacks and stuff, and she was calling, like, Lamar overrated. I was like, honestly, I think the one that's overrated is Jalen Hurts. I mean, you look at the offense, the offensive line, the protection he gets, the receiving core he has, and it feels like over these last few weeks, Jalen Hurts has deteriorated. Jalen Hurts has not been the same player. Jalen Hurts has not been passing the ball as well, and teams have been keying in on what he doesn't do too well. He's not a great mover and thrower. He's rather a stationary thrower in the pocket, or he runs, right? Secondly, if this run game isn't there in a powerful way, it takes away from Jalen Hurts picking on one-on-one matchups. You have to make him read coverage. He's not as good at that. At times, he can be very big play oriented and be very impatient. At other times, he can kind of hold on to the ball too long and try to look for the big play, which forces throwaways and sacks or scrambles that are unnecessary. I just feel like we're seeing more and more flaws in Jalen Hurts' game than we did early in the year or last year. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is not like a top 10 quarterback or anything. I still think he is. But I think, that conversation of him being in the top 5 certainly maybe has been propped up more by the supporting cast than I think a lot of people would give it credit for. I certainly have always had that in the back of my mind, but I think that's starting to show right now when his receivers aren't making great plays. Jalen Hurts is kind of left out to dry, and he is not looking the part. I mean, did he really look better than Drew Lock today? Honestly, not much better, if at all. So, especially as a passer. So, that's an interesting question to ask, but Philadelphia, they're just not that good. I've been telling you guys for a while, like, I don't want to give myself a big pat in the back, but sometimes you kind of have to on this show. Like, I'm talking to myself, I'm talking at a camera, like, you guys, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, like, the Eagles, I've been saying for weeks, people have been saying on ESPN and Fox and whatever shows you listen to and podcasts everywhere, the Eagles this, the Eagles that, they play their B game, they win. They don't have this A game. It doesn't exist. The A game does not exist. They're not as good as San Francisco. They're not as good as Dallas. They're not as good as, I think, Buffalo at this point. They just don't have that A game. It's not there. The defense isn't good enough. The pass rush is inconsistent. The secondary is trash. The linebackers are not good. And the scheme is not exactly phenomenal. The offense, the run game isn't the same. The offensive line isn't the same. And it's just too much of Jimmy and Joe baller, make Hurts run around and try to find somebody on a big play. It's just too predictable. This team is too predictable. Their coaching limits them. And now their personnel on defense that's older and deteriorating, which I said before the season would happen, it's certainly showing. So this is a big takeaway for me this week. The Eagles, they could lose in the first round in the playoffs, and I would not be shocked. If they play the Rams, if they play this Seahawks team, if they play a lot of different teams, they could definitely fall in the first round. So that's an interesting game for me. But Drew Lock, baby. Drew Lock. Sunday Night Football. The Baltimore Ravens versus the Jacksonville Jags. This was not as interesting as a game. It was kind of boring in some aspects. What I got to say about this. The first half, it appeared to be everything I've been worried about with Baltimore. Offensively, run game was pretty solid, but the pass game, everyone's covered. Lamar is constantly having to make plays against pressure, having to shift around, having to move around, having to buy time, having to create. And that's simply not reliable. And that's the biggest thing I took away from Baltimore in this game is the offense in the passing game, specifically the drop back passing game. I don't really think it's the scheme necessarily. I think it's the fact that they have pretty good receivers. They don't have anyone that is amazing, right? OBJ is not 2015 OBJ. Zay Flowers is a rookie and still learning and growing. Isaiah Likely is not Mark Andrews. There's no one out there that really demands respect. There's no one out there that consistently wins. There's no one out there that Lamar really trusts down in and down out to make a big play. Not Nelson Aguilar, not Rashad Bateman. While they've made big plays throughout the year, OBJ, Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely, there's not a A.J. Brown for Lamar Jackson, right? Especially without Mark Andrews. So that's something I noticed with Baltimore where I worry about that in the playoffs. I worry about that next week against San Francisco. The offensive line, too, I think is extremely overrated in pass protection, especially when Ronnie Stanley is not 100%. I thought Jacksonville got after Lamar a lot and at least affected where he wanted to go with the ball and made him hold the ball because they're chasing him constantly and he's constantly having to avoid people, make plays, scramble, buy extra time, and it takes your eyes away from reading defenses. So there's that. Baltimore's defense, I thought, was a bit leaky and inconsistent throughout the first half as well. I felt like Jacksonville was the better team in the first half. I thought they moved the ball. They missed 2 field goals. But I will say this, that was predictable. Heavy wins, McManus not being used to that in Jacksonville this year. That was going to happen. 50-yard field goals, you're likely to miss that, especially when your kicker is pretty mid and his name's not Justin Tucker, right? And then you're talking about Trevor Lawrence. And my overall takeaway with Jacksonville is, I mean, as much as people want to shove Trevor Lawrence down your throat as far as they can, eat the Trevor Lawrence is generational or else narrative, the man is simply not that guy. I mean, he's just not. Like, I don't know what else to say. He's talented. He's one of those guys that is talented. He's big. He's strong. He looks the part. He's got a great arm. He can move and run. But what I notice about Trevor Lawrence is the man is a bonehead. Yes, I said it. The man is simply dumb. I'm calling Trevor Lawrence out. His IQ is not that high, and he's not that guy. As a quarterback, he misses too many easy throws. He misses too many easy reads. The offense is rather a bubble screen or a screen of some sort or a deep shot. There's not a lot of rhythm. There's not a lot of consistency. There's not a lot of precision. And a lot of that has to do with Lawrence. He has a cannon. There's no doubt. But he's not the most accurate guy in the world. His mechanics are flawed. And as an athlete, he's clunky. He's not smooth. He's not Lamar. And he's not overpowering and explosive like Josh Allen. He's just And then you watch the guy and he makes stupid mistakes. Interceptions against Cleveland. Fumble, trying to change hands. He dropped the world, man. Like, Lil Wayne never did that, bro. So I'm just saying, like, you're talking about Lil Wayne versus Trevor Lawrence. It don't add up. Okay? Like, Lil Wayne and Eminem, they didn't drop the world. Trevor Lawrence drops the world. He drops the ball. This dude, Trevor Lawrence, is not that guy. I don't know how else to say it. He's not smart. He's not accurate. He can't carry a team as much as everyone wants you to believe he can. He has a good coach. He has good receivers. They brought in Calvin Ridley. He has Evan Ingram. What's the excuse? He has Travis Etienne. And you're going to hear, oh, the Jags can't run the ball. We know that. We know they can't run the ball. But actually, there was a couple explosive runs in the game from Etienne early, especially. But you've got to take advantage of the points when they're there. And then the guy doesn't even, like, they don't get points before the half. They messed that whole situation up. This team could have scored 12, 14 points before the half. Keaton Mitchell, huge injury. Huge. Kid was explosive. Kid was different. Touched the ball looking like the Flash out there. I mean, there was one run, he's supposed to run it to the right. He stops on a dime. He runs it all the way back to the left and gets a first down. I mean, whoop! 251 rushing yards for the Ravens in this game. And ultimately, they started slow. The offense looked a little flustered, a little clunky, a little inconsistent. They found their footing. They got to the run game. Lamar made special plays with his arm, with his legs, shifting the arm motions, the arm slots, avoiding pressure and finding people open. Isaiah Likely coming through with big plays. Lamar's just that quarterback right now to me where he's an elite guy. He's that guy right now that you have to watch the games to truly understand how good he is. You have to watch the games. You can't just look at the box score. You can't just look at the stats, especially the passing stats. It's not going to show the story. What this guy does for this team, what this guy does for this offense is different. He is a pleasure to watch. Some of the plays he makes no sense. He's a human joystick out there, and it's like you're playing Madden. That's the only way to explain it. And then, they were able to put it away in the second half. Their defense came through in the second half. Kyle Hamilton continues to shine. Matabuke continues to shine. Roquan Smith. Their secondary is really solid. Marlon Humphrey. But there are certainly flaws in the Ravens. I would expect them to drop the game against the 49ers. I don't like that matchup for them. I'll talk about it in my preview, but this is the best team in the AFC right now. They're at least the most complete. There is another team that showed their things, showed their stuff against Dallas. Maybe they're better, but we will discuss. All right. Next up. Robert Saleh. See you later, pal. Okay. New York Jets. I don't even know what to say at this point. If you bring back this absolute clown of a specimen, Robert Saleh, I don't know who you're kidding. If you try to run this back one more time with Aaron Rodgers, Robert Saleh, Hackett, the hack of an OC, you're going to lose. You're going to fail miserably. You're not going to be as good as you think. It's not going to work. Let me tell you something, brother. When all the BLV maniacs go and watch your Jets games, they're going to tell you one thing. And that one thing is that Robert Saleh is not that guy. Robert Saleh is trash. He is absolute trash. Nobody saw it. The game was 30-0, but this was one of the worst performances and one of the most embarrassing performances of the NFL season. I want to talk about Miami and how good they were without Tyreek Hill, but it's very hard to talk about when Robert Saleh is fucking garbage. You watch this guy's team. You wouldn't even believe me if I told you. Okay? They have 0 or 1 offensive touchdown in 12 of 14 games this year. 0 or 1 offensive touchdown in 12 of 14 games. Everyone wants to crucify Bill Belichick, and don't get me wrong, I will later. But Robert Saleh is a fucking clown. He doesn't know a thing about offense. He can't sort an offensive line, the protections, the run game. He can't get that going. He doesn't even know the play caller is a joke. That they run a West Coast install offense from 1989 with Bill Walsh. Brother, I think Steve Young knows these plays. I think Joe Montana knows these plays. And then I'm watching this team, the Jets. Zach Wilson is running play action boot after play action boot, and they can't protect one play. They can't protect him in one fucking play. Like, give him a chance. Like, I don't care who the quarterback is. If you keep calling that boot play with Aaron Rodgers, he's going to get sacked. I don't know how many times. He's going to have to throw the ball away. I don't know how many times. Miami clearly exposed it. Miami attacked it. Miami threatened the protections. They had all the plans in the world with Vic Fangio to attack that boot action. And they absolutely flabbergasted Mr. Hackett. And Zach Wilson got concussed. I wonder why he was under pressure on 80% of his dropbacks in the first half. Again, I will go on and on and on and talk about Zach Wilson's season when he plays well. And I'll come back and say, when they don't play well, it's not Zach Wilson's fault. Because you watch this offense, they can't block a soul. It's the worst offensive line I've ever seen. It is the worst offensive line I've ever seen. It's that bad. It's that bad. The run game is a joke. They can't run the ball. Their offense is a joke. How do you bring back Hackett? How do you bring back Saleh? The defense, oh, it's great. They're great. They're great. You've got all pros everywhere, and you still can't stop Jalen Waddle. You watch Tua out there. The man is looking at Jalen Waddle. 3rd down and 5. I'm throwing it to Jalen Waddle. I'm going to tell you before the play starts. Hey, Saleh, go do another run up the damn steps. I can tell you who he's going to throw the ball to, pal. He's throwing the ball to Jalen Waddle. Do I need to write you a letter? Would you prefer that? You want me to send you an email? Maybe a text, a call. What do you want? I can DM you on Twitter, Instagram. I can Snapchat you. You want a snap face? What do you want to do here? I can tell you Jalen Waddle's getting the ball. You're not facing Tyreek Hill, and you still don't have safety over the top of Jalen Waddle. He runs all the way down for a touchdown. You can't protect Zach Wilson. He fumbles inside the 10-yard line. They get a touchdown. Every third and fourth down, Jalen Waddle. Still can't stop Miami's run game. How many all-pros you need? Guy is trash. Don't even give me Aaron Rodgers is going to save this guy's career, save this guy's job, save the Jets. The Jets are going to fly right into the towers again if they have this damn guy, Robert Saleh, as their head coach. Give me a break. Saturday headlines. I just want to say a couple things about Saturday. Just a couple. Bengals. Jake Browning, you never should have cut me. Epic. T. Higgins, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Gardner Minshew threw one of the worst, not Gardner Minshew. Nick Mullins, I don't know why I got those two confused. Nick Mullins threw the ball directly at BJ Hill, right at his face. He was falling down and he threw the ball right at him. That was something I've never seen. Give credit to that coaching staff. I continue to say it, Zach Taylor especially. Bang up job. Good work. Jamar Chase is going to be out. That's really going to hurt them. They play the Steelers. That's a huge game. Joe Mixon. So good. Joe Mixon has been so good. And for what seems like so long at this point, he's a vet of the game. He doesn't get enough love. He doesn't get enough respect. I will also say, man, Brian Flores, Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings in general, I thought they played a good game. I thought they did play a good game. That was a tough one. There was some nice stops, some clutch stops. Cincinnati's just a clutch team, man. They're a clutch team. Saturday. And then you got to talk about the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions demolished the Denver Broncos. Demolished them. It was never close. I immediately knew I was in trouble. I had Denver on teasers, and I was not liking what I was seeing. Denver was getting ran over in a way that I haven't seen all year. I haven't seen the Niners. I haven't seen the Eagles. I haven't seen anyone, not even the Buffalo Bills, against the Dallas Cowboys, run over a team in the way that I saw Detroit run Denver's face into the turf. That was debilitating. It reminded me of Jonas Gray against Party Parth in 2014. It was that dominant. It was that thorough of a beatdown. It was belt to ass in every way possible. Jahmyr Gibbs is a glitch of a human. I don't know why he doesn't get the ball 20 times a game. David Montgomery, big game for him. Amon-Ra, Caesar, big game for him. Sam Laporta is a fucking dog, bro. Sam Laporta is a top 5 tight end in the NFL. I didn't want to say it yet. Guy can block, can catch, can run after the catch, can run routes. What does the guy not do? I mean, he's better than Taylor Swift's boyfriend at this point. He really is. The defense came out of nowhere. What the hell was that? What Detroit's defense decided to play? What was that? And Detroit's fans, man. It was lit. Putting up the threes. That was awesome, man. So, Detroit had a great game. And I know this wasn't on Saturday, but I don't have a topic for it. Shout out to Case Keenum. Shout out to DeMeco Ryans, the Texans, over the Titans. Like, mind-boggling, huge victory. Changes the AFC playoff picture. Changes the AFC South. The Texans, I think they have a very good chance of winning that division now. thanks to that win. So shout out to the Texans. Next up, after the Saturday headlines, all I can do is shake my head. All I can do is shake my head. Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco. January Joseph. Joe fucking Flacco. Again. Seed. For the win. Amari Cooper. Was it Amari Cooper or David Njoku? Can't quite remember. Regardless, seed, bullet, dot, whatever you want to say. Joe Flacco. What a win by the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco is a baller. Joe Flacco is a legend. And I told you guys last week, I got comments, Mitch, you didn't even talk about the Browns. You didn't even bring them up once. You only talk about Joe Flacco. Because all that matters is Joe Flacco. I told you, get this guy out the playoffs. You don't want to see Joe Flacco in the playoffs. You don't want to see January Joe in January. There's a reason his name is January Joe. Because he's one of the only guys that can go to Foxborough and compete with Tom Brady in his prime. At the peak of his powers and actually beat Tom Brady. You don't want that. There ain't no Tom Brady out there anymore. I don't care if this man is on his 8th left tackle. He's a different dude in the playoffs. He makes throws that make no sense. He's moving like Lamar Jackson out there in the fourth quarter, escaping pressure, moving on the run, escaping to his right, throwing a seed. And this is the thing with Joe Flacco. This is the thing with his era of quarterbacks. There's guys that have this mentality. It's Eli Manning. It's Joe Flacco. They could throw a horrible pick in the first quarter. They can throw a horrible pick in the third quarter. They could be trailing the whole game. They could have 80 yards. Joe Flacco, doesn't matter. Fourth quarter comes, he's going to rip it. It doesn't matter. He's got Sigma Chad energy, bro. Joe Flacco. Big man on campus. Joe Flacco. Veteran. Joe Flacco. Big baller. Joe Flacco. MVP. Joe Flacco. You tell me who's more valuable than Joe Flacco. If the Browns didn't have Joe Flacco, what would they be? What would they be? Where would they be? How many wins would they have? What's his record? You tell me. How many games has he lost? You tell me. All right. I'm just saying, bro. I am just saying. And then we watch these Bears. I had the Bears plus 3.5, so I was nearly pulling my hair out. But it was classic Bears. And it was thoroughly an example why Justin Fields ain't it, bro. It's a thorough example why Justin Fields, I don't care what DJ Moore says. DJ Moore just wants more stats. He wants more catches, more yards, all that stuff. DJ Moore doesn't want a rookie quarterback. Okay, we get it. DJ Moore, I like you. You're underrated. You're a good player. You never should have been traded from Carolina. Carolina, a bunch of candy asses. They don't know what they're doing. Okay, so they can shove it. But DJ Moore, you don't know what you're talking about. Justin Fields is not very good. People are going to say Darnell Mooney dropped it. Bro, it was a Hail Mary. There's a reason you were there in the first place. Because Justin Fields can't make a damn play in the fourth quarter when it matters. Ever. When has he ever made a play in the fourth quarter? Come on, bro. Like, at some point, make a play in the fourth quarter. 4th and 1, he trips on his face like Tua. Come on, man. He's scrambling. He trips on his face, bro. And on the other side, you got old man off the couch, Joe Flacco, ripping seeds. With no tackles. You tell me. Bears should be drafting a quarterback. And then you're talking about Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus can't win this game. That's how you know you don't have that alpha dog. You don't have the great head coach. You don't have the schematical advantage. You don't have the great quarterback. You can't win that game. You're up 17-7 in a defensive ball game and you lose. I mean, what else do I have to say? I mean, the Bears only had, I think, 10 points on offense the entire game. Edmonds had a pick 6. Joe Flacco threw a damn pick 6. He's still a baller. He still goes out there and makes plays. That throw was unreal. You don't want to see Joe Flacco. Fear Joe Flacco. I'm telling you guys. You guys think I'm kidding. You don't want to see this guy. I'm trying to tell you. You're just going to keep thinking I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. All right, let's go. Next up, we got to talk about this MVP conversation because everybody has an opinion. Everybody thinks they're smarter than everybody. Okay? I've said it once, I'll say it again. The most valuable person in the NFL is Kyle Shanahan. I've made this video before. I've made this video I don't know how many times. The most valuable person in the NFL is Kyle Shanahan. The most valuable player in the NFL is probably not on the Niners. But the way that the NFL works is that the guys with the best stats on the best team win the MVPs. So we must break it down. Brock Purdy the fourth or Christian McCaffrey? Which one is the MVP? Most valuable player. They're not the most valuable person. We've already established that's Kyle Shanahan. The most valuable player. Now, if it was my vote, who is the most valuable player in the truest sense of the word in the NFL? The name is Josh Allen. We are not ready for that conversation quite yet. But let's break down the conversation of Purdy versus McCaffrey. Because I thought it was very fascinating that after a big win, 4 touchdowns, another day at the office for Brock Purdy where he gets hurt, he comes back, he shows his value, makes great throw after great play after great throw, scramble, all of it. He says that Christian McCaffrey is the MVP of the NFL. Great guy, Brock Purdy. So does he have a point? Let's talk about it. So first, for McCaffrey. The comparison would be, and I said this before the season, which is why I thought McCaffrey had a legit chance to win the MVP. Marshall Faulk. The St. Louis Rams with Marshall Faulk had a quarterback that was working at a grocery store before he became that guy. Famous Super Bowl champ, Kurt Warner. And Marshall Faulk was already a all-pro, Pro Bowl caliber running back who was traded from a shitty franchise, the Indianapolis Colts at the time, to a up-and-coming team and good franchise in the St. Louis Rams. Sounds similar. Christian McCaffrey was on a shitty, no-good franchise named the Carolina Panthers, got traded to a up-and-coming, great Super Bowl future franchise, 49ers. And what they have in common is that both ignited the flame of each offense and each team. And why I would say Christian McCaffrey has a very good case for MVP is that he is the best running back in the NFL by one of the widest margins that any player is the best at their position in the NFL. There is not a player that is better than the second best player. Who is the second best running back in the NFL? Let me ask you that question. We all know that Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in the NFL. Who is second? He runs, he receives, He blocks. He barely comes off the field. And when you look at his stats, he leads the NFL in rushing by over 300 yards. That is unheard of. He has total touchdowns, 20 total touchdowns so far this year, and will probably finish with at least 25. He has 57 catches for 509 yards, and he's going to have 2,000 total yards. Inside of the offense, where Kyle Shanahan will regularly have 2 receivers, a tight end, a fullback, and a running back, they use the same personnel. And what regularly allows them to do that is the fact that Christian McCaffrey is not only the best running back in the league, but he is interchangeable to a top receiver in the league named Deebo Samuel. So the schematic of the offense is dictated by Christian McCaffrey. You may think that the offense works without him. It does, but not to the same degree because of that element. And because of the element of his vision, explosiveness, and just ability in all phases of the game to dominate. And then you talk about what he has done when he's been, right? You look at when he hasn't been on the field. The Browns game was a big example when he wasn't on the field of what the offense looked like. And I understand Deebo also wasn't out there, and I think Trent Williams wasn't out there as well. But McCaffrey was that piece that really, I think, they missed the most. Now, when we talk about Brock Purdy, why would Brock Purdy be the MVP? My comparison would be Matt Ryan in Atlanta. Why would I say Matt Ryan? Well, I think, first of all, for you to understand why Brock Purdy can be MVP, you must understand that he doesn't have to be the best quarterback in football to be the most valuable in a given season. People can say that Mahomes is a better player. People can say that Allen or Lamar are a better player overall. But that doesn't make them more influential to the success of the most successful team. And that is Brock Purdy as the quarterback of the 49ers. And you can clearly tell the difference between Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco. You could tell when Sam Darnold goes in there and Brock Purdy is in there. You can tell that this is a historic offense. They are a top 10 offense of all time right now. They are putting up top 3 DVOA numbers of all time. Only behind the 2007 and 2010 Patriots. Shout out to Tom Brady and the Patriots. But the 2023 49ers are a top offense of all time. And that's because of the trigger man. That's because of the gunslinger. You watch the plays. You watch the games. You see the stats. Everything adds up. Other than the draft status, which is what people are hung up on. They're hung up on the fact that he doesn't have a cannon like Josh Allen. They're hung up on the fact that he's not as athletic as Lamar. They're hung up on the fact that he doesn't throw cool passes like Mahomes. But he gets everything out of this system. He makes the in-structure rhythm passes. He puts the ball on the money consistently and accurately. He throws tight window passes. Short, intermediate, and deep. He can make scrambles outside the pocket, extend plays, and throw seeds like Joe Flacco. And he has done it against the best of the best. Philadelphia, Dallas. He has put up numbers this year that are unrivaled in efficiency metrics such as EPA. Brock Purdy is really good at football, and he is the quarterback of by far the best team in the NFL. And it's easy to tell that he's really good. Once you understand and you forget where he was drafted, you watch him escape pressure with calm and composure. You watch him throw accurate pass after accurate pass in rhythm. I understand he has great receivers. I understand he has a great coach. I understand he has a great left tackle. But this is the guy running the show. It's not easy to be the trigger man for a bunch of superstars. It's not easy to handle the pressure of being the quarterback of the best team and seemingly never letting the pressure get to you. And not only winning, but dominating consistently. So those would be my arguments for Purdy and McCaffrey, and I think both are deserving. I don't think Purdy or McCaffrey are the most valuable players in terms of value to their team. Again, I think that's Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. But based on the success this year, statistically, the success of their team, and the story of the season, these two players deserve to be MVPs. So that's my take. Moving on. Arthur Smith is not an MVP. This man fucking blows. And I have been on record stating that I've liked Arthur Smith. And I've ranked him as an average coach throughout the first couple of years in the NFL. And I think in some ways that's fair. The team's success has been fairly average, and at points he's gotten more out of less, especially on offense. But I have to wonder at times, does he do that to himself? And I watch this guy call games. I watch this guy coach this team. First of all, he has no presence. He's really nerdy. He comes from a really rich family where you can tell he's a little spoiled. You can tell he's lacking some sort of chemistry with his players. He's lacking some sort of ability to motivate his team, find a true identity to tap the pulse of this team. You know, and you could say a similar thing to somebody like Kyle Shanahan, right? What Kyle Shanahan, he did grow up as a son of an NFL head coach, Hall of Fame NFL head coach. But these two guys couldn't be more far separate, you know, different. Like Kyle is like ultimate dude, like player's buddy, like kind of brother. And Arthur Smith is like this like nerdy, like chess, like geek that's trying to sit at the lunch table of the cool kids, the football team, and the cheerleaders, and he's just not, he shouldn't be there. He should be with the Glee Club or something. You know what I mean? That's Arthur Smith. And this is how I know you're a bad coach. I coach. You guys know this. I coach lacrosse. And I'm the offensive coordinator for my team. So I'm responsible for scoring goals. And if we don't score goals, I'm at fault. Or at least I take responsibility. And it's not the same as in football. And certainly you call plays, but it's not in the same manner. But Arthur Smith is basically a guy that gives the ball to his lesser players to try to be the genius of the operation while he's hurting his team. If I were to go out there and constantly tell my team to get the ball to the lesser players so that we can score goals this way, my offense would constantly lose trust of what I'm telling them, and my defense would not like me very much because I'm telling my offense to get the ball to these players. That is the best type of way I can correlate this in my mind as a coach in another sport. What this man is doing makes no fucking sense. There is no logic behind it. There's no sense to it. It's just bad coaching. I don't care what you have to say about his running scheme or what he's done with Mariota, Ritter, or Tannehill in Tennessee. First of all, why you go into a season with fucking Desmond Ritter is beyond me. I mean, I've said so many times, I said it in the offseason, I said it in the draft, this guy is not it, he's not good, he's not an NFL starting quarterback, they continue to roll him out there. They didn't make a trade at the deadline when it was clear as day. Jacoby Brissett sitting out there looking good. I said hire and sign Jacoby Brissett. What is the fucking deal with this guy? He's an absolute plug. He's an absolute geek, nerd, chum, bucket of a coach. He stinks. And the biggest thing, again, is he just refuses to use his best players. That is bad coaching. It's bad coaching. Period. Baker is baking and Barry is flaking. That's what I gotta say. Baker, the commercial maker. Man, is he back in a big way. In such a way that I almost contemplated putting him at number 10 in my quarterback rankings on Bleacher Report. Damn right I did. I contemplated it big time. So before we get to Joe Barry and his right-hand man, LaFuck, we have to talk about Baker. Good for you. Good for you, Baker Mayfield. Good for you, Tampa Bay. I'm proud of you. Offensive coordinator hires paying off. No more Byron Leftwich, thank God. And Baker Mayfield is playing some of the best ball we've ever seen him play. In this game, he was drop back pass. Drop back pass. What has Baker been his whole career? What has he been relying on? The run game and play action. This game, didn't even need it. Drop back Baker. Big game. Chris Godwin, huge game. Mike Evans, huge game. But the real story of this game is Joseph Barry IV. Joe Barry. I've been saying it, I don't know how long. You guys know. He's the worst defensive coordinator in the NFL. This guy is so bad. These are the drives from Tampa Bay's offense against the Packers. Now, keep in mind, Tampa Bay is a very mid offense. Field goal. Turnover. Touchdown. Punt. Now, you ready for this one? Field goal. Touchdown. 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 Run the clock out. Let me repeat. Field goal. Touchdown. 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 Allow them to run the clock out. That was the defense of the Green Bay Packers. It's embarrassing. This is a talented defense. They have a very good front seven. They have good linebackers. They have good D tackles, good edge rushers. They have some talent in the secondary. Now, without Alexander and post Rasul Douglas, it certainly is not the same. Their safeties certainly miss a lot of plays. But still, the scheme is inexcusable. For you to not take priority in Mike Evans in the red zone is inexcusable. For you to not double Chris Godwin on third down when Baker is looking for him time after time after time is inexcusable. And I don't know what Matt LaFuck is doing. Like, maybe he needs to take a haircut off or something. But can he fire Barry? Like, look at the guy's production. Look at the guy's stats. Look at what he's done in the NFL. He's a complete joke. He's terrible. He's the worst defensive coordinator in the league. They don't stop the run. They don't stop the pass. They don't tackle well. What do they do? What do they do? Well, nothing. Now, I've been saying the Packers are a different team without Christian Watson. People still don't want to believe me. That's fine. It is what it is. I actually thought Jordan Love played well. I thought he played really well in this game. I thought both quarterbacks played really well. But Jordan Love's defense gave him absolutely no chance. No chance. Defense is a absolute piece of monkey trash. Joe Barry, bye. Bye-bye, Barry. Sometimes I just laugh, you know? Sometimes I just laugh. Sometimes I sit here, I go on my picks videos, I proclaim something's going to happen. I say the Bills are going to win, and I don't need any other reason. Then it's just going to happen. And then I get 100 different comments. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. The Cowboys are dem boys. The Cowboys are America's team. The Cowboys are this good. They scored this many points. The Bills aren't good. The Bills should have lost to the Chiefs. The Bills this, the Bills that. And there's no bigger proponent of this point. And yes, I'm shouting you out, calling you out live on air. Kevin can't. You know who you are. You can't hide. Can't. BLV versus consensus. This man, week after week after week, I tell him, the Bills are going to win. The Bills are going to win. The Bills are going to win. He asked me, Mitch, you make no sense. They suck. Their defense blows. They can't stop anybody. Sean McTerrorist. Josh Allen, he's good, but he can't do it all. Stephon Diggs is washed. Blah, 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 blah. They don't even give it to James Cook. They don't even do it. They can't. I told you, sometimes when you have a guy like Josh Allen, things don't make sense. And sometimes when he gives you a chance in every game and the other team is afraid of you and afraid of one individual that much that they literally let you run the ball down their fucking throat so bad it should be in a porno, that I probably just got flagged by YouTube. You get your shit smoked. This was domination. Destroyed. Dallas was destroyed. Dallas was humiliated. Dallas was eliminated. Deleted by the Buffalo Bills. The Cowboys got pushed around up front like a bunch of pansy-ass bitches that they are. What kind of performance was that? You said that it wasn't the road. It wasn't the road. They're good away. What are you talking about, Mitch? They're just a good team. I told you they can't go outside. I told you they're not good in the cold. They're a bunch of pansies. The Bills, who have been questioned, their toughness has been questioned. James Cook ran down your throat. Time after time after time. And Josh Allen was along for the ride. He was the kid in the project, he said, that got an A+ for doing nothing. Now, I wouldn't go quite that far because Josh Allen made some clutch plays. Throw to Diggs on the first drive. Touchdown pass to James Cook. Third drive, huge scramble, breaking tackles left and right. Throw to Diggs to go up 24-3 with that one-hand snag to set up a James Cook run. But this was 49 rushing attempts for over 200 yards. The Cowboys were so scared of Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, and that passing attack. They wanted to play man coverage so bad. That was their only way to victory, that they allowed James Cook and the Bills to run all over them for 200 yards. And I do believe that that is a huge part of what happened. And I also just believe that one team wanted it, the Buffalo Bills, and one team didn't, the Dallas Cowboys. I believe one quarterback inspired his team and one quarterback gave no inspiration to his team. And what I see with the Cowboys on offense is as soon as Dallas and Dak can't say, here we go, they can't block a soul. They couldn't block shit in that game. Not one iota. And then Zach Martin goes down and it becomes even worse. Sean McDermott, the guy is good at zoning up. He's a good zone coordinator. He was clogging the middle of the field. Dak Prescott had 0 completions over 10 yards in the middle of the field. Everything was outside the numbers. Buffalo is the real deal. Buffalo is going to be tough to stop. Buffalo, no one wants to face. This is the team in the AFC that the Niners would not want to play because they have that guy at quarterback. They have that guy. And then they're figuring some things out on defense. I've been saying this for weeks. They're getting better and better and better on defense. Linebackers are becoming more equipped and experienced. Defensive line is finding the right rotation of players. Secondary with Rasul Douglas is adding chemistry to the mix. I could go through the notes, right? If Buffalo can run the ball, they can go on the road and win in the AFC. There's no doubt about it. A stat for you. So many yards after contact, 4.2 yards per rush before contact. That is only the third time in the last 2 seasons that happened. With a player, James Cook, that had at least 25 rushes in a game. Only 3 times in 2 seasons. Dallas, you see their flaws. They can be overpowered. They're not a road team, specifically outdoors in the cold. When they play from behind, their offense is not the same. It's evident. I like Dallas. I hope they do well. This team's not beating San Francisco. And the problem with Dallas is how they're constructed. If Dallas played in the AFC, they would do a lot better in the playoffs. I actually think that. But in the NFC, you play the Eagles, who don't look great, but have an overpowering run game. You play the Niners, just way better, and an overpowering run game. You play the Lions even, with a great run game. The Rams with a great run game. The Packers would like to run the ball. The Seahawks can run the ball. Trouble. But at the end of the day, one team came out and played in playoff mode and the other was asleep. And they weren't prepared and they weren't ready for this business. They weren't ready for that playoff mode. The Bills have been there. They've been in these games. Dallas, they've been there, but not to the same degree. Bills Mafia, shout out to you guys, was lit. Awesome atmosphere, great to watch. And the beach ball gave me flashbacks to the Raw after WrestleMania. I went to 2 of those. Used to be beach balls in the crowd. People popping them. The security guard having to come over and grab them. Great times. But beach ball, keep that shit up. Love to see it. We lost to Taylor Swift. The New England Patriots lost to Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift was in attendance at Gillette Stadium on Sunday to watch her boyfriend, the mediocre, never gonna be as good as Gronk, fraud, tight end, that looks washed, can't really run anymore, soft as Charmin, Travis Kelce, the baby back bitch, Patrick Mahomes, throwing picks, throwing the ball off of Kadarius Toney's hands and then bitching about it on the sidelines. The refs bailed him out. They clearly fumbled the ball. They called pass interference. There was no pass interference on the play. Should have been another turnover. This game went nearly exactly how I thought it would. I'm not even going to lie. I knew that the defense would play competitively. I knew that we would play well at the beginning of the game on offense because we would run the ball. We would have some nice little play action plays. We'd have some nice schematic plays to throw at the Chiefs and get some points on the board. Our defense would give us a turnover or 2. We'd have a fighter's chance, a puncher's chance. And I give the coaching staff some credit for that. I give the players some credit for that. I give the defense some credit for that. We did a great job against Mahomes for the most part. They were screening us to death. They clearly knew that in a drop back game, they couldn't really contend. So there's a lot of screens, and they tried to run it, but it wasn't very successful. And overall, I just watch Kansas City every week, and I'm just not wowed by anything this team really has at this point. I think the defense is solid. I think it's good. I think they have some good players. But I don't think it's overwhelming. And the offense is just like, meh. There's nothing really about it. I like Rashee Rice, but I mean, I don't know. I don't see anything that's really superb about this Kansas City team. I don't think they're going anywhere this year. But my biggest takeaway from this game is, like, I'm done with Belichick. Like, there was a point in this game where, yeah, I like his defense. He does a great job with the defense. I think they're very competitive, and they still play very hard. But, man, like, this guy is acting like a pussy every Sunday. Like, he punts the ball. We're down 17 points. He's punting the ball on 4th and 4 and 4th and 2, and like, go for the fucking points. Like, at this point, who cares if you lose by 24 or 17? Who cares? This has been my problem with Belichick ever since Brady left. Really, ever since 2019. He's become an old man, stuck in his ways. And I don't know what it is. What's the difference? Try to pull off a crazy upset against the Chiefs. Instead, you're punting the ball. You're punting the ball. And then we've got Bailey Zappi, who sucks. He's so bad. He's not anywhere close to a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's barely a backup. He's getting guys injured, throwing up ducks, throws the ball to Hunter Henry, gets him killed. Like, get him out of there. He's going to hurt someone. He's so bad. But it pains me to watch these players fight so hard. The defense plays so hard. The offense, trying. They don't have a lot of talent. And then you punt. Like, bro, try. Like, why? Like, what are you doing? My ultimate question with Belichick, like, if we move on from him, my big question about the team and the personnel specifically is, what would the defense be post-Belichick? Like, if let's say we brought in an offensive coach and we brought in a new defensive staff, how would this defense play in a different system? That's what intrigues me about this defense. How much is it the personnel? How much is it Belichick, the system, the scheme of the defense? That is my ultimate question about the defense. If I had a better answer about how much Bill contributes compared to how much the talent contributes, I'd probably feel a lot better about moving on from Bill or keeping Bill. But at this point, I don't even care if our defense falls off, because this guy is dreadful to watch. His teams are unwatchable. His style is unwatchable. He doesn't even care. And then, like, he's terrible with the media. Like, he's an all-time great. He's the greatest coach of all time in many respects, according to many people. I don't know if I still hold that belief, but I will always be thankful for what he brought my life as a Patriots fan. And nothing I say here will take that away. So I don't want it to seem that way. And it does often seem that way. But at this point, like, you've got to know when to move on. And it's just like, it's so frustrating. It's so hard to watch. I remember like 2 years ago, I made a video that Bill Belichick broke me because he refused to go for it on 4th down against the Dallas Cowboys at home in a big game in 2021 with a much better offense that year. He won't even go for it down 17 against Kansas City. Like, retire if you don't want to win. Like, I don't know what to say. That just did me in. Like, nothing else about the game. The game was exactly what I thought it would be. Offense sucks. We can't really move the ball. It's inconsistent. We can't block. Trent Brown's out. We got no receivers. I mean, I thought Hunter Henry played a great game. I thought that Parker actually played one of his better games. I thought Douglas played decent. The defense played well. Dietrich Wise, Christian Barmore, Josh Uche, Jabril Peppers, Marte Mapu, Mac Wilson continues to shine. Still don't know why Miles Bryant plays. But other than that, I mean, it is what it is. So that's it, guys. Week 15. Thank you guys for watching. It's been a long day for me on this Monday night. If you enjoyed, Gronk spike the like button. Subscribe. We'll see you soon. Peace.